Right. Religion-wise, 98% of the population of Greece, they're supposed to be Greek Orthodox, which is a high percentage, okay? I have found one Catholic church in the main part of the city centre, and there is 2 synagogues that are right next to each other, and there's no mosques. It is illegal to have a mosque in the country of Greece from the time of the Ottoman Empire. Now, none of you are Orthodox, I imagine, huh? No. So there's 2 very strange things about the religion for me. One is that you can become a living saint. Right? The papas or the bishop can go, you're now a saint, and people make offerings and worshippings to you. The other thing is the language in which they speak it in. If you hear anything going on in a church, go in and have a look at the people's faces. Nobody's got a clue what's going on. Right? I went to my first Greek wedding 2 months ago now. I'm very excited about it. Probably be the last Greek wedding I actually go to. Right? It was one of the most boring things I've ever done. It went on for hours, about 5 hours, and nobody understood what was happening because they are speaking in ancient Greek, and not just ancient Greek, ancient Greek. Okay, so go in and have a look. And they're not going to change it because during the 400 years of Ottoman occupation, it was the church that actually kept the language alive. It's all about Easter here, Christmas not so much. Christmas has only becoming popular in the last 2 to 3 years with all the commercials and the advertisements. Easter, resurrection of Christ, that is what it's all about. The week before Easter is actually one of my favorite weeks to be in this country. Everybody parties because for the next month they punish themselves. You know, like nothing to do with an animal or alcohol or anything. So for this 1 week, everybody goes mad. It's Carnival week here. It is a wonderful week to be in Greece, okay? Everybody parties. Remember the Evzoni soldiers we saw walking earlier?
Yeah.
I was following them one day and it was very clear they were still hammered and plastered from the night before. They were unable to walk in a straight line. It was very, very amusing to see this. I was sat next to my 60-year-old friend one night who's married to an Irish lady. I didn't know I was sat next to him for about a half an hour because he's 60 years of age, he's dressed up as a Heineken bottle. Right? And one night, you all get together and you go and you fly your kites. Right? So you drink beer all day, you go have a barbecue and you fly your kite because it brings you closer to God. I think that's the Friday night you do that. It's quite interesting to actually
You try to fly the kite.
It's a very wealthy institute as well. Plaka, which is the most expensive place for you to spend your money, is all owned by the Greek Orthodox Church. And very interestingly, because I still don't know why, the country of Israel, you all heard of it? Yeah. 2/3 of it apparently belongs to the Greek Orthodox Church. How or why that happened, I have no idea. Any of you follow news in Israel? All the churches were shut down last month, including the main one in Jerusalem, the big one. And that's because the Israeli government told the Greek Orthodox Church, we're going to start taxing all your properties. And the church said, no you're not, we're going to close down all the churches, and guess who won? Greek Orthodox Church. So they're still paying no taxes. Right, the first building that we walked past on our way to Parliament, where you had the 2 soldiers standing outside of, that was the presidential palace. The second building was the Prime Minister's residence. Now, the President of Greece, he is symbolic. He's not even elected, he's appointed, he has no power at all. Any of you happen to know his name? I was hoping somebody was because I can't say it, right? It's Pavlos Pravaflapas. He's got a lot of P's in his name. The second building is where all the power was. That is the Prime Minister of Greece, okay? Any of you know the Prime Minister's name? Alexis Tsipras. Alright, we'll give this guy a minute. Yeah, Prime Minister is, he's all the power. I mean, officially Greece is a democratic state and a republic, but it's the weirdest democracy I've ever been a part of. Prime Minister doesn't need backing of Parliament, he can do whatever he wants. It's quite strange.
Tiffany, he's waiting.
No, the Prime Minister is elected. Like the King and Queen, their bloodline, President is appointed by the Prime Minister, Prime Minister is elected by the President. It's supposed to be every 4 years. But right now we have a very clever politician in charge. Clever isn't always good. Yalla.
What's it, Mom?
What?
That accent.
Water?
Do you want water?
Water? What's it? Water?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Tata. Bye-bye.
So, Prime Minister of Greece, Alexis Tsipras is his name. He was elected at 39 years of age. He was the youngest Prime Minister of Greece. At 42 today, he is still the youngest Prime Minister this country's ever had. He was elected a leftist social Marxist. He was the first Prime Minister of Greece ever elected from the left. Any of you follow Greek politics at all? No? Like most Greeks actually voted for him twice because he called the snap election when he had a sudden rise in popularity. but he's been an absolute disaster. Everything he said to get him elected, he did nothing. He did the exact opposite of what he said. Like your guy is president, Mr. Trump. You know what his approval rating is?
42.
I think it went up a bit, yeah. The last time I had checked, it had gone up to 31%, but I think he had a sudden rise again. I'm guessing none of you are happy with Trump, maybe some of you. But next to our guy, Trump looks amazing. Chip is 12.5%, all right? He's unanimously not liked, and there's two main reasons for this. One is privatization, right? So I already mentioned the supermarkets in German hands, the airport is in German hands, the bus, the metro, I believe the post office is now going into German hands as well. My water bill, my electricity bill, any of you, because it's quite high, any of you have a guess what country owns that?
Germany.
China, alright? Now, both of the bills are actually quite high, and it made no sense to me because I'm never at home really, alright? And I found out I have a minimum charge per day, per week, per month. Whether I use electricity or not, there is still a minimum charge. And it's not just Greece that this company has actually bought them in. It's the same guy now owns the water and electricity in Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Greece, the four worst hit economies of the EU. Piraeus port, the biggest and busiest port in Europe today, is now owned by Chinese as well. All the coastline has been bought up by China. All the properties that were confiscated from the Greeks who couldn't pay back around 10,000 euro are all being bought by the Chinese for next to nothing. And China has a 20-year plan for Athens and for Greece. Any of you heard of Macau? Well, they want to turn Athens into Las Vegas of the EU. First skyscrapers, casino chains, all the hotel chains, they're all on the way here. That 20-year plan apparently starts next year. It's in 4 phases of 5 years, okay? It is not good, in my opinion, for the Greek people or for Greece as a country. I'm sure it might change the economy a little bit, but how much of that will trickle down to the Greeks, I'm not very sure. And it is because of this government. The other reason he's not liked is money. Any of you know what the average salary in today's country is?
$8, $7.
The official average salary is 560 euro per month. Now I spent a year and a half here working 2 jobs, and I'd say together I wasn't making that much. What my friends are earning, my age, younger, older, coffee shops, restaurants, anything really, is 3 euro per hour. That is if you are a full-time employee. If you are a part-time employee, it is 2 euro and 70 cents per hour. Have any of you had a beer in a bar here yet?
No.
5-ish euro on average is how much you're going to pay. So you're working nearly 2 hours to get 1 beer. The cost of living is not relative here, and it is because of tourism. Around the city centre, anywhere we've gone today, would you have noticed an economic crisis? Not really, right? Not really. Like, we're in year 11 of the crisis right now. That's a very long time to have a crisis. Old age pension, can't really follow it anymore. 5 times this year it's been cut. We're in month 7, right? And next year, I understand, the old age pension, it's going to be a flat rate. No matter how much you earned, how much you put away throughout your lifetime, it don't matter. 280 euro per month, okay, per person. My rent is 280 euro per month, so you can imagine how much you actually have to live off of. Unemployment, you'll only get it for 1 year, it is 360 euro per month. After that 1 year, tough, you're done. I worked for Apple for 1 year here, and my salary was taxed 42%, right? That's across the board. Sounds high, there's countries in Scandinavia paying 55%. Okay? Any of them that I have spoken to, none of them have complained to me about it because they get to see the money back. Whether it's healthcare or schooling or whatever, they get to see the money. We don't see any of the money here. There's been no investment since 1998 in preparation for the 2004 Olympic Games. We have an idea where the money goes. We passed one of their houses earlier, but the corruption isn't very well reported here. VAT, any of you see what it is? 24%. Right? Any of you know what's going on with Macedonia? Seen in the news, the protests, all the police and everything. So, Macedonia, the Greeks say Macedonia is Greek. You can't choose the name, all right? It's all over the name, Macedonia. Where you have Macedonia and then you have Greece, just on the border of Macedonia, you have the county of Macedon. That's where Alexander the Great is from. That is still in Greece. But the main argument why the Greeks are saying you cannot use the name Macedonia is going all the way back to the original Olympic Games. So in the original Olympics, it was Greek athletes only. The people who are living in Macedonia and from Macedonia were taking part in those games. That is the argument. 2,000-year-old argument, right? But it is massive protests. They are turning violent. I understand 3 weeks ago somebody actually got shot outside of Parliament by the police. The road that we walked up, the presidential and the prime minister's residence, that road was shut down for 3 weeks. Okay, we were not allowed up and down there because of all the unrest. But in my opinion, it's all a smokescreen. Right? This is the 3rd time that there's been these crazy protests over the name Macedonia. So it began 3 weeks ago on the Saturday. Any of you might have guessed what might have happened on the Friday 3 weeks ago? New austerity measures were agreed. Income tax is going up next week, salary is going up again, VAT will go up for the 4th time since I've been in this country, which is 3 years, and old age pension will be cut again next week. Do you know how many people are actually talking about it? Near nobody, because what's in the news? Macedonia. Alright, so it's this is the third time this has happened like in the last 6 months. Now, even though the economy, in my opinion, is out of control, it's crazy, it is all okay. Because the French president, Emmanuel Macron, he came here 3 months ago and he told us everything's okay, the crisis is over, and everything's getting better. I thought it was very nice of him. And I thought it was very cheeky that he even went up in the birthplace of democracy to deliver that speech. So you bring my thanks home with you guys, isn't it? Yeah. And Chypris has been saying the last thing for the last 3 months as well, the Prime Minister, because next year is election time. Things might get better for 1 year, but I highly doubt it. Did any of you hear of Brexit? Brexit happened here before Brexit. It happened over 3 years ago. They voted no to accept the new bailout measures, and the government flipped and said we're going to say yes. But what do you think the Greeks voted? Leave or remain the EU?
Remain.
61% voted to leave, and the government went, nope, that never happened, and it was never again discussed, all right? In Ireland, do you know how many times we voted to go into the EU? We voted 3 times until they got the right answer. First time we said no, second time we said no, third time I was like, well, we're not doing this again, yes. Very big mistake in my personal opinion. Like after I left California, I spent around 8-9 years roaming around Europe. I lived in 10 different countries in that amount of time. Because of the Irish passport, walked in, walked out, worked away. Everything was great. However, on a personal level, I am not the fan of the EU at all. Okay? And I seem to have a thing of finding economic crises. I spent 3 years in this Greek crisis, I was 2 years in the Spanish crisis, and I spent a year in the Irish crisis in 2009. The reason I mention it though, is because I heard the same thing in all these countries. And that is, that the worst thing that ever happened in this country was, not the EU, more specific, the currency, the euro. And even though it was the currency in Greece before the euro. Drachma, one of the oldest currencies in the entire world. What happened when the drachma changed to the euro? Did any of you hear? Loss of value. Minimum 1/3 of the Greeks' wealth was lost, okay? And that happened to everybody. So you went to bed with the equivalent of 3,000 euro, you woke up, you were lucky to have 2,000 euro. And to make everything better, everything got more expensive. So for the equivalent of 10 cents in today's money, they were getting a bottle of water, they were getting bread, something to run that bread. Now the bottle of water, how much?
$1. €1.
Yeah, in the shops is 50 cents, okay? So it's gone up by 5 times already. Your bread, minimum 80 cents, something to run the bread, minimum €1. So they lost money and everything got more expensive. Don't know, any of you were at Catalonia? I was on there a while ago. You see Catalonia stickers everywhere, Catalonia flags. They tried to break away from Spain and break away from the EU. I mean, Greece does not want to be part of the EU, but I don't see them actually breaking. So, I still love living in this country, one of the nicest places I've ever lived, just not a big fan of the economic things that goes on. Any questions? No? Huh? Yeah. I feel very sorry for my Greek friends. I did it myself for a year and a half here. €24 for your 8-hour working day. What are you going to do with that here? If you, 2 of you go out for a main course and get a beer or something, you won't have any change from €24. But this is how much they're earning per day. So, I have a 45-year-old friend who owns a bar in the city, which is one of the better areas. He still lives at home with his mother. Can't afford to go out and get a house. You know? All right, let's go.